Alrighty, once again, welcome back all you fellow Dusty Dogs and Travelers of the Trail out there. My name is Dusty Yoda here for DIOT Gaming, and welcome to Thomas Was Alone. Yeah, it's a little bit more slower paced and gentler paced than After Crash, but otherwise, you know what? We needed it a little bit right now. And so, I especially after the day I've had, but yeah. This is obviously the game about emotional squares, but that's kind of why I like it. Because there is a surprising amount of empathy created in the storytelling for it. As a result, you might see something that's a little bit slower paced, especially because I'm going to be pausing every time there is dialogue on the screen. I may talk over some of it, but I do also like listening to a lot of it. So just be aware of that point. I do have both the original game and the Benjamin's Flight DLC here. I believe it came standard if you buy the Switch version, but you had to buy it separately if you do the PlayStation version. But we'll be going ahead and taking a peek at every single one of those, so I have 13 scenarios to go. So I have something like 12 scenarios to go through. But yeah, I already completed the game and got all the achievements on it in about 2 hours, so this is going to be way shorter than the other one was. Definitely something that we're going to be able to complete very quickly and by the end of this session. So yeah, we'll go ahead, start a new game, and get going. The program was a failure. People forget this. It was a massive flop. The coders started adding name strings to the AIs as a joke. Thomas wasn't special, was just an AI in the right place at the right time.
Thomas was alone. Wow, a weird first thought to have.
And the old conceit of the game is moving your little rectangle to these portals, if you haven't played this before.
Thomas decided to start listing his observations for posterity.
As everything is a rectangle,
1.
and...
The whole alone thing. 2. Portals. They led somewhere. He'd yet to work out where. 3. Falling. Thomas was absolutely fantastic at falling. He was almost as good at falling as he was at observing.
But yeah, so the fact that it's rectangles and there's a lot of dialogue in it, it's actually kind of precisely why I like it. It's very simplistically done, in the vein of a whole bunch of other, like, indie-style games of this era. But at the same time, they managed to create surprisingly empathy by having it be extremely well written and explain to you what the heck is going on and motivations for each section.
Okay, interesting. Thomas couldn't fall past this block. Think, damn it, think. What if there was some kind of inverted fall? Some way to... what's the word? Jump.
And so there is.
It worked! Thomas had solved the great inverted fall mystery.
But I kind of love it because it's like playing a game and reading a storybook at the same time. Like, there's still actual game elements. There are some difficult portions.
A big jump. But Thomas noted there was no real danger in missing it. The world didn't want him to fail here. It was pushing him, but gently.
But yeah, so like it's told very, very well. The narrator is freaking excellent. I have been missing that consistently the last couple of days. It's told excellently. The narrator is astonishing. I love the narrator.
This all seemed a little dangerous. The world was not to be trusted. It was unstable, and it seemed to Thomas that it could let him down at any moment.
It's just...
He was starting to suspect it might even be doing so on purpose. Paranoia.
But yeah, I just love the narrator. It's so gentle. It is definitely like having somebody like read a book to you. It's great.
Thomas wondered whether the portals were actually taking him anywhere. He felt like he was making progress, but there wasn't really any way to know. He seemed to be moving predominantly up and to the right, which might or might not be important.
Let me actually adjust my, Okay, yeah, the volume is up. We'll turn the music down very slightly more, because I do like the... there we go. I do like the narration. It reminds me of, I used to watch the Thomas the Tank Engine series a lot as a kid. Still actually like going back to it, because it's still fairly enjoyably done. At least the early version with the models.
It might have been paranoia again, but Thomas could have sworn the world was becoming more complicated. It always seemed to be one step ahead of his skills.
And especially if you watch the...
Designed just for him. He wondered why. Was the world testing him? No. Too obvious.
Especially if you've watched the British version of it, Michael Angelis, I think the narrator is in the British version after about season 1. No, it's initially like Ringo Starr for season 1, and then you have Ringo Starr, I think, again on season 2 in the British version, and then from like 3 onwards, it's like Michael Angelis or something like that.
Something about the boiling, toxic, glowing water intimidated Thomas. He didn't like it. He certainly didn't want to swim in it.
This narrator, it's not him.
Mental note. 4. Water. Not good. To be avoided.
It's David Wallace here. It's not Michael Angelis, but the narration style is so much the same, and I love it. I adore it.
The loneliness was getting to Thomas. No amount of observation or obsessive note-taking could combat that.
And then I also like how the game is just subdivided into these little chapters. Like, we're on 0.9, we're on Chapter 1. Chapter 1, Level 9, basically. Or Chapter 0, Level 9. But even Chapter 0 is a fair test of the skills and limitations of Thomas. Complications are more adding in other characters and getting used to their abilities.
Thomas had a new theory. The world was training him. He could feel himself getting smarter. There was the mental list to consider. Over the minutes and seconds since his spontaneous generation, he'd become a pretty skilled jumper. He was evolving. He just wished he had someone to share it with.
But yeah, so like there's just... The narration is great. And also this is absolutely one of my favorite OSTs of all time. There are certain levels, and I will point them out when it appears, that I would rank among my top. I submitted hundreds of bug reports. I told this idiot that was happen. Overlapping scripts. More than one AI was bound to be spawned into an environment at some point. Turns out I missed the point. A little error changed everything.
Chris took an immediate and deep dislike to the skinny red rectangle. Who the hell did this Thomas think he was?
And of course I do like it for the fact that the narrator in this one has a little bit more sass than Michael Angelis. Of course, Thomas the Tank Engine is made for, like, kids, and this is more like a philosophical exercise.
Chris had been doing fine. He wasn't the highest jumper, but he'd held his own. He'd even been graceful at times. Well, not technically graceful. It's probably the wrong word, but, you know, fine. There was that skinny little runt leaping about like he owned the place.
And now here comes a situation where I need that skinny little runt. Oh, nope, you don't want me to go that way. You want me to go up here. Ah, why you'd pop out in front of me like that? Stand right here, so Chris can jump on my head. But yeah, like, this is surprisingly, like... I just... There's so much about this game that I actually, like, adore, despite its weird conceit and premise. I mean, like... And especially for, like, all the other games of its type... They're, like, minimalist, like, ooh, fancy art. Like, this one actually does feel like it's art.
Okay, this was more like it. A glowy white thing. Only Chris could get to it, which of course made it all the more enticing. What would it do? What new opportunity might this switch open up to him?
I think it's purely because of the narration, because Jesus Christ, the game's narration makes a plot that could be incomprehensible and makes it full of, like, this empathy and
disgrace. Another chance for Thomas to jump slightly higher than Chris. How fortunate. Seriously, this made the whole switch pressing thing entirely worthwhile.
Yeah, there's dry humor and stuff like that even in the narration. Like, it all works. Like, it's more than just, like, it's not like this incomprehensible thing about, oh, we're just moving squares. No, the squares have personalities and stuff like that through the narration and motivations. And
Good? Because on the surface, it did not seem good. Chris was pretty scared. Little Red seemed fine, happy to be on his merry little adventure.
it just is.
Didn't shake the feeling that things had taken a significant turn for the worse since Thomas had joined him.
It just is. It's so good in that respect.
Piggyback his way to ever so slightly higher platforms, but where had that got him? Well, to ever so slightly higher platforms, which was sort of his point.
But yeah, there's just, because of the narration, it's elevated from like, oh, it's supposed to be incomprehensible in VR. Like, you know, like like what I've heard a lot of criticism about games like The White Swan, or even though its plot is a little bit cleaner, I think I've heard it about Braid and stuff like that. This one just does away with that and then makes it where you feel empathy for rectangles, and that's half the art. Is that their narration makes you feel empathy for colored shapes. Like, that's kind of impressive.
Chris stared at Thomas with pure hatred. He seemed so very happy at their situation. Friends together, a brave fellowship of quadrilaterals on a quest for greatness.
Again, I love the just...
Fine. But it was all the obvious observation that Thomas was doing which grated. Every time they saw something vaguely new, Chris would hear a satisfied little from the vaulting idiot. He hoped the next portal would split them up, if only for a few levels.
But yeah, it just is, it's fantastic in that regard, because the narration does a lot, and yet, oh, it's so good though. Geometry dashing my way over this. I've never actually played Geometry Dash, but I've seen quite a few playthroughs of it. But yeah, I also love that the narrator isn't just like dryly narrating this thing or expecting you to kind of get this weird, odd plot line. The plot is pretty straightforward. Character motivations are pretty straightforward. Like, everything is like, it's pretty easily discussed in the narration.
John knew. He knew that this was his chance. A moment to shine. This was game day.
It is game day. I am playing games, thus it is a game day. Oh wait, yeah, I gotta get John too high for Chris to get on his head. No, I went on the other side now. There we go. You don't have to be fully in the portal, but yeah.
John needed room to show off his exceptional skills. As it was, he was trapped on the wrong side of these little dot things. Where did they come from, anyway?
There we go. It's just funny to keep bouncing in tiny areas like that.
John inhaled the air of the open space, and it smelled of awesome.
And indeed,
Time to flex those muscles, to put his training to use, time to show those little dots how it was done.
boing!
John decided to press the switch to let the little dots catch up with him. John cared for his new allies.
No, we don't. We're just gonna move.
Tell from the sympathetic expression he practiced in the mirror all these years.
There is absolutely no reason for John to stick around. Actually, wait, there is one reason for him to stick around, and it's right here. Let's get Chris as far as we can, and then we'll have to do a little bit of bouncing back and forth between Chris and Thomas to get him up the staircase. It's also actually surprisingly responsive. There's a little bit of parts that can be finicky sometimes, but overall, it's actually not that bad, like control-wise. So it's not even like an incomprehensible control scheme either. You just actually, like, play. It's a game. It has story. And yet it's weird because it's rectangles and it's art! Again, and the music also helps. It's one of my favorite soundtracks. Like, even though this I would not consider, like, one of my favorite tracks, it's still damn good. Every single piece in this game is damn good. You up here. Nope. Up and over. There we go. Alright, Thomas, you need to go on top of John and then over. Now John can go over here. And then Chris just fits through the little line. It gets harder. It actually does, but yeah. Hoi-ya! Nope, I didn't make it. Let's move you two down here. There we go. That gives me the whole space for the run-up.
John was happy to keep helping. He felt it was important to his image that he was seen to help the little guys.
And now we will need you over here. Or else Chris will have trouble getting up. Not that way. They're all rectangles. They have trouble getting up anyways. And I keep forgetting that Chris needs help up here. Okay, yeah, I do need to put Thomas on top of there. I just got one step ahead of myself. There we go. Move you over here. Midpoint for Chris. There we go. Whoop. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't like the edge very much, but... Oh, wait. Nope. Down here for Chris. John has no issue. There we go. Yeah, so you kind of have to do a little bit of fiddling around the squares, but that's still not terrible. Generally, they kind of keep it to a minimum.
The red one, Thomas, had a charming way of applauding every time John jumped.
Here we go. Get Chris up there because he's the hardest one to move. For now, there's like one or two worse, but for right now, Chris is our hard one. Now, John, who can go flying. Get in there.
The angry orange one was less immediately likable, but his unremitting cynicism and tutting amused John.
Let's see. I think that should be good enough to get Chris up to the top here. There we go. $110, okay. Admittedly, this track is kind of starting to be the...
A floating target. This would require coordination, balance, and timing.
I think I have to use John as a midpoint.
The dots would be lost, but he was happy to guide them to triumph.
I think I have to use John as a midpoint between these two. I don't think Chris can make it on his own. Thomas can. Thomas has the least issues of anybody. we go. Okay, there we go. Well, you don't want to go in. There we go.
That's what the dots were for. They were there to extend John's reach, to make his performance even more impressive. John liked the thought. He decided to keep them.
I also love something that you'll see later. Everybody right here is very, very much single-minded. Like, they have their little, like, quirks and everything, which is still fun. It makes it fun, but yeah. There's other portions of it that get into later. The initial group possessed simple variations in size and strengths. More complex configurations were inevitable. As the year spread, these variations became increasingly extreme.
So, this was how Claire would die. She knew it would happen eventually. She was rubbish at jumping, and she moved slowly.
She's actually slightly better than Chris.
Like her continued existence was breaking some kind of natural order. The crumbling pillar was a dramatic death, she supposed. Wait, what? Claire couldn't shake the feeling that she was not, in fact, dead. It was at that moment that Claire realized she had superpowers.
So something that I haven't shown off yet. Any other square that hits the water disintegrates. That's why Claire is a superpower. If I were to try and put anybody else in the water, they'd just explode. John will be a good point to show here for it.
She'd need a cape. There was no getting around that. You couldn't be a superhero without a cape. Claire didn't want confusion.
We do have to use John to get her up.
A cape, that made matters clear. You knew what you were dealing with. Claire was all about communication. And
She's a little bit better than John, but I mean,
water, which was her superpower.
Yeah, so Claire is a little bit better at jumping than Chris is, but so yeah, John goes into water, sinks, explodes. Most of the other squares will do this, but Claire, in addition to being big enough to go across these gaps, can go into water without an issue. You could also just kind of jump over those gaps with John, but I like just nyum.
All right. Fear not, my skinny friends, for I am Claire, and I will save you.
Also, boing,
Claire
boing,
needed to come
boing.
up with a superhero name as soon as possible. Claire was rubbish.
So I can go like right on top of here. These generally do better if they're not stacked on top of each other. We just kind of move them into position. Whoop. Thomas is sitting on top of Chris there. Boing, boing, boing.
Claire arrived just in time, which was, of course, the perfect moment for superheroes to arrive.
And we have growing water. There is an achievement in this level that is a bitch to get. I got it. I have it. I got it through. But it's still a bitch because it's like way over in the corner, and this level does not give you a ton of time. The water rises at a pretty steady rate.
Water began to rise. Claire vowed to save this little rectangle in as many restarts as it took.
That's actually another thing that I kind of like about it. It specifically kind of calls out some of the conventions about it. It's like the restarts, the
I wondered if Thomas would make a good sidekick. Or was she more the lone Avenger type? She liked that. A sole hero in a world of rectangles and conveniently placed pools of toxic water.
Yeah, so there's some stuff like that. There was some way to inverted fall, like a jump. Or like, yeah. The portals, as many restarts as it took. Like, there's just, it's great. I love it. It's so good. Yeah, Claire's a little bit better than Chris at jumping, which is good.
The others told Claire that staircases were a bit of a fixture here. Claire wondered why the world made it so difficult.
Yeah, just the lamp shading is also great. I love it. The narration, what they do with the narration, it's just it's all so good. Just get you down here for right now. Oh, I gotta wait. What? John, what are you doing? Okay. I've never seen that happen before. That's actually a first for me. I've never seen that happen. John just fucking disappearing. Okay, I need... Oh, John can go on top. Chris goes into position. And then Claire take over. Oh, let's move you there, because Claire has to get in. And can't jump over John. She's not that good. She's better than Chris. She's not that good.
Claire probably needed a nemesis. A villain who would show their true colours at the worst possible moment, hurting all she held dear. Chris was the most obvious choice. He seemed stroppy enough, and his jump was so pathetic that it conveniently avoided Claire's insecurities. Yes, Chris. Diabolical Chris. The fiendish Christopher.
There we go, and I gotta move down here again. Same as before. Arrange the squares. Rectangles. We'll do that because that just makes it easier. No, it doesn't. John get stuck. Should be able to get Chris. There we go. Again, Chris, sorry. Or the load. Boing, 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 dong.
Wait. Where had Chris gone? Was he
Also,
somewhere?
why does it start you off there and fling you up?
Claire was honest. And she had to be because she was a superhero. This was a troubling turn of events.
Alright, Thomas, can you get up there? Yes, you can.
Still, there were reasonably sized bodies of water to cross.
There is an advantage to boing, 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 though. This is an advantage. Just fucking fling them across. There we go. See, that's why you do stuff like that. You just fucking fling them across. Fling yourself across with boing, 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 skipping Claire across like a stone. There we go.
Moving platforms over water, eh? Claire's newly heightened senses told her that there were multiple paths across with various possible configurations of the little posse.
And I'm going to do my standard, which is one at a time. John can kind of mostly leap over. Thomas needs the platforms. But since the platforms can push Claire around, I tend to not use her
They were doing really well.
as much.
Claire hoped she could get them all across. John was fully aware he could do this alone. Thomas hoped he'd never have to.
Hey, I got it. Ha 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 ha! And they were even all in perfect position for the portal. And a spike is... boom, instant death. Not as bad as VVVVV, which I can also do.
Claire was alone, which was odd, because she wasn't meant to be alone. She needed to be where there were rectangles to save. Being the only superhero in a given space kind of defeats the object. Spikes? That was new. Claire avoided them. She decided they were most likely her kryptonite. Not the rubbish red kryptonite either, the proper radioactive green stuff.
I love the little like editorial. Not the best part either. Not the stupid little part. It's just so good. It's all like it all comes together and works, and it's great. No boingy boingy, because that can make me hit spikes sometime. Especially not when we have to do it again with Thomas.
Wow. Deja vu. The world was repeating. And this time Thomas was here. Claire felt something had gone wrong. There was a disturbance in the force.
There we go. I don't miss too many dialogue options with that one.
The Matrix. The world was reacting to their progress. It was amassing its forces. It was plotting against them. Claire finally had a nemesis.
Act! First, unintentional death. Oop, wait. Spike hurt. There we go. I need to get Claire around here so she can ferry Thomas over. Now I can do them separately again. Whee! Nice and easy. I built protections into the system. When overlaps occurred, the world generated a splitter to remove unwanted additionals. It's like a white blood cell. It investigates, it captures, it removes from play. Need this one first for the button.
Please, this one was behind a wall. Maybe he'd never know what she could do. Maybe they could just have a conversation. Hang out. As long as he didn't find out what she could do. Which would never happen so long as they stayed separate.
Now get Chris to the ending point. And we have somebody with a more pitiful jump than Chris's. But invaluable for anybody else.
Laura didn't have time to worry about the ominous pixel cloud. It had been following her for some time, and it had kept itself to itself until now. More important was the little orange thing, which was looking at her in a way that she kind of, well, liked.
Laura's purpose? Double or triple your jump height.
As the square, who had shyly introduced himself as Chris, bounced atop Laura, she began to worry that he was just using her like all the others had. They'd all bounced too, and then they disappeared when her back was turned.
Bunch of one-night stands. With this game, I think it's like one cycle stands.
Only the ominous pixel cloud ever remains, looking a little bigger and a little less hungry with every disappearing friend.
Well, that's not ominous. That is neither ominous nor foreboding. First, gotta move Laura into position.
Laura found herself less and less irritated by Chris. started to miss him when he wasn't there. On another platform or something.
There we go. Let me see. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to get Chris up through here. There we go. So Laura scoots through here. Onto platform.
She'd wonder what he was up to. Was he missing her? He wasn't saying very much.
Chris is in love. Mr. Sundar.
Chris was in love.
There it is.
She was perfect. He had to tell her so. At some point, he would definitely tell her.
There we go.
Best to wait for a moment the large, ominous pixel cloud wasn't about, though. Yeah, probably best to wait.
Okay. Laura very easily can just slide it across. There's a way you're supposed to do this level and a way that I do that level. The way that I do that level is just slide Laura across and then very carefully bounce Chris across. What you're supposed to do is take Laura and have Chris bounce on top of Laura the entire way across. It is way less easier to do this to me than it is to fiddle with that arrangement. There we go. Okay, first one for John. Is the other one gonna go boink?
Chris was massively disappointed to run into the gang again. He'd enjoyed the alone time with his new girlfriend.
I need Chris over here. There we go. Only one small enough to fit.
Was it too early to refer to Laura as his girlfriend? Only if I say it out loud, he told himself. He didn't want to scare her off.
And now we definitely need John. I mean, who else can vault their way over like this? Get it. There we go. And I will need that bottom. I will need John in first. There we go.
The others seemed suspicious of Laura, and the eager-looking pixel cloud of death which seemed to be watching her. Sure, they'd use her inherent bounciness to reach slightly higher jump points, but they wouldn't strike up a conversation with her. Chris found them rude. Rude, and always there.
There we go. Kind of have to hold it down a little bit. Let's put John there so I can do that. I keep hitting over to the wrong portal direction. Yeah, that's a good one. About as close as I can get, I think. There we go. Chris is just a straight slide. Ah, there we go. I knew there was a problem with Laura. There we go. Needed John to actually get up there. And then Chris just slides. Didn't have to do nothing but get to his own point. I believe I can take these all one at a time and it's no issue.
Cloud guy? Why is he following us? What's that rumbling hungry sound he keeps making? Chris, can we just leave Laura behind?
we go. Thomas up next. Now Chris. He needs a little help getting up, but these ones are fairly well organized. You just kind of have to be patient. Perfect. There we go. Now I have all of them to use as a stepping stone to get Laura up on that top point. Laura, exactly the width of one of these blocks. Down here. And then over here. I can't get on top of John, damn it. Alright, Chris, get over here.
Rude.
Right as I was bouncing, too. There we go. Whee. Alright, let's get John back down here so Chris can get up. Ah. Come on down. Still need you. Yeah, it's gonna happen for a little bit. I think I have to do that in a couple of different scenarios, and this is the better of the two. There we go. I didn't realize I could get him stuck like that and have it work. Okay, now I gotta be careful here, because this one will have water spray from the top. So I gotta get everybody in before it has trouble.
Laura liked her new gang. She liked Chris.
Shit!
She liked having friends.
I did the same thing before. Oops. There we go. Thomas to here. Claire gets scooted to the side so we don't send Chris plummeting into the poison water again.
Laura liked her new gang. She liked Chris.
Get down. Get Laura.
These ones seem to be sticking around too. Not like those losers from before.
Nyeh. Right here. Is that gonna work? Should work. Hey, it did work. Is that gonna be enough for Chris? Yes, it is! Yes, it is! Whoop. Let's move Claire to position. Then we move Laura. And then John can boing. $3.10. Alright, I think this way is going to be the... Oh, wait. John first.
The pixel cloud
There we go.
was getting closer. It was spending more and more time hovering around. Laura could tell it was
Nope.
making the others uncomfortable.
Alright, let's see. I should be able to do... Laura to here, and then boing. Yeah, there we go. Settle right there. Dang, John! There we go. Nope, nope. Okay, yeah, I knew the spike was gonna happen. Over here. And Claire. So now all I gotta do... Nope! Exact same position every time. There we go. No simulation can support too many entities. At a certain point, something has to give. If Thomas hadn't possessed those exact personality traits, it's likely the story would have ended there. We'd still be in business. Okay, I guess let's do John out of the way first.
Thomas did not like the
Nope,
cloud.
never mind.
He'd long since
John's stuck.
testing his observations, but he instinctively observed that this thing was bad.
Let's see.
And he'd been right about the water.
I'm going to have to pee. Probably before I go to break. I need Chris down here. There we go. Now we can get Laura up. Okay. Shit. I need the other way around now. Claire. There we go. As sad as it is, this is one of my favorite tracks. Wait, let's see. Who do I need at the end? It's Thomas. So it's Thomas. Laura. Claire. John. And Chris at the end. Bringing up the rear as always. Bonk. Haha, Chris, you're stuck. Okay, so I think for this set over here, Thomas, come down. Laura, go up. Now on top. Thomas, go boing.
Thomas
Not far enough.
Chris was in love, and that was fantastic and everything, but that didn't mean they could let the doom cloud keep following them. Thomas was going to put his foot down once they got to the next level.
Boing. Where is the next one? Oh, do I need to bring John up here? I think I need to bring John up here. Oh, okay, yeah. Let's see. I'll need to move Chris out of the way. John goes here. Claire can move over. So that Laura can move over. Thomas, go boing. Okay, Laura, go over here. Thomas is in the way. I mean, Claire is in the way of Thomas. And now Chris. There we go. And Pixel Cloud Top 10 Anime Villains. Yep, that fucker just killed Thomas.
Miss Thomas. Wow. Did not see that coming. He felt a little guilty too. Without his love for Laura and subsequent reunion with the guys, Thomas would probably still be with them.
Oh my god, he's learning! He has a heart! I think I need Claire. There we go. Wait, Claire, can you make that? Yes, you can. Okay, cool. Claire gets to be over here. Claire has to be the last one because she's the only one who can fit in her particular area. But it requires a jump. Laura, whoop, I can't do that. Wait, yeah, nope. Laura, I can get in. There we go. And John. Up in the corner. Meow.
Chris wondered if Thomas was still alive somewhere.
I will have to move eventually, but...
For him, but he did wonder, and that showed character.
Wait, can I not move the entire way? Nope, I gotta move for that one. There we go. Okay, now I gotta move. Now we gotta make the little orange streak move.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo! 3-point landing!
Maybe the others hadn't abandoned Laura all that time ago. It began to dawn on her that she might not be the tragic victim she'd always assumed.
Ya think. You're followed around by something with a vor fetish and you're just now getting it? There we go. Now John can hit the button. And move out of the way! Oh wait, no, it's the other way around. Move that a little bit. There we go. Out of the way. Move over here. Yeah, for some reason this level likes to put you in places where the thing will kill you if you don't move. Not too hard to restart or move out of the way, but it likes doing that for some reason. Need you over here. Wait, did I screw this up? I think I screwed it up. Or get over here. Claire. There we go. Okay, now I gotta put Laura up here.
Laura had been the bait. She had a hunch that she wasn't needed anymore.
Now John can tappy the button. There we go. Just kind of have to hold it. Move you down here. Is Claire going to be able to get... Nope, Claire can't get around you. God dang it, Laura. God dang it, Laura. God dang it, Lara. There we go. Whee! And speaking of which, there goes Laura getting numbed.
John looked at Claire. It was just them now. She muttered something under her breath about a vow of vengeance. He didn't see the point. Fighting that thing seemed to be a pretty futile idea.
Bonk. And the general idea for this level, keep John in a safe place while Claire go down. Oh, I didn't even realize that was the one. Is it up here? Yep, it's that one. Okay. Yeah, so now we need John to come down. Oh, you can stay there. Move out of the way. Where button? There, button. Yeah, we'll have you sit right here. Nope, I need John. There is a point that I usually just like... There, okay, this... Nope! Okay, I didn't realize I could do that either. Button. There we go. Okay, there we go. This level sucks, because now I gotta run this. And this is another reason why you learn to skip Killer like a stone.
As they struggled to get to the next portal,
I
John
think I
hoped
just need to
he
get beyond
would be the next
this.
to get eaten.
And now run!
Be alone.
Okay, we're good. We are fine now. It's gonna come zooming at me, but it's fine. There it is. Makes that last bit a little bit speedy, but... Oh, there goes Claire. Claire, get the num. The nyums. Oh crap, I hate this level.
For the first time in a while,
Rising water with John, and it goes fast.
audience. He was alone.
This reminds me of levels like in,
Leaping from black square to black square didn't seem nearly as exciting now. It just seemed empty.
It reminds me a lot of levels from the game, the online game Shift, if you ever played that one. Armor Games. Oh, fun times. Doing a lot of that stuff was fun. These are nasty. You have to figure out how to get into the correct position for all of them. Flee! There we go.
He knew he'd never escape. He knew it was waiting for him. He decided to jump the massive scary gaps. For old time's sake.
I love how one of the most depressing lines I've ever heard in the fiction is in a game about frickin' rectangles. And there goes John. But I will split this into a couple of even halves, so we're going to do the next level. The next chapter, I guess. The initial 5 are usually given the credit for the emergence. People forget the later architects, the AIs who made the event possible. They saved Thomas and set him on the path to his destiny. Including Gay Turquoise Square.
James had always been different. And not different in that kooky, OMG, you've totally got to meet my mate James, he's literally insane kind of way.
I know a couple of people like that, and I feel offended by that remark. I don't think they would, but yeah. God, even the rain is upside down.
He'd not seen anyone else in a long time. Not since getting eaten by that cloudy, pixely thing. He turned up here in some kind of cage.
And now a little bit tricky because I do have to follow the button. But the button will move itself to different positions. And some of them are not conducive to moving onwards.
He'd gotten out, but it had taken a long time.
Such as that one. Nothing too terrible. It doesn't really get hard until the DLC. Actually, until... Yeah, DLC.
James liked being alone. No one to insult him or question his unique disregard for Newtonian laws. Hey, Jimmy, where are you going? Up? Idiots.
Idiots. Again, the narration. I love it.
The little red guy looked confused. His cage was a lot smaller than James's had been. James decided to find a way to help. Maybe they'd be friends.
It's Thomas. He's not dead, he just got imprisoned. You know, as some vor enthusiasts like to do. Yes, you're hearing about Pixel Cloud Vor. I'm a furry. What do you think I'm gonna do with it?
Thomas had no idea why he was here. One minute he was with his friends, the next he was being freed from a cage by a green guy with a nervous laugh. He knew he had to get back to them. His turquoise hero seemed uncomfortable. Thomas imagined he'd feel the same way if he fell upwards all the time. If he didn't know better, he'd have thought James didn't want to meet everyone.
And in one level, Thomas gets more empathy for James than most people do for any sort of spectrum minority. I say this mildly jokingly, but we stand a true ally. Yeah, your best ally is a red square. Speedrun tactics. Speedrun tactics on that one, definitely.
Thomas wondered why the cloud thing had brought them both here.
Oh my god, yeah, that actually was the fastest I've ever completed that thing. Nah! Not into the spike. Okay, now I need to wait for the thing.
James and Thomas working together could get anywhere. James didn't seem to understand the immense ability he possessed.
God, I need somebody to do a pep talk with me like that. Shit. Like, I wouldn't die. I can make it to the next one, but still. Okay. I forget. Oh, wait. I need... There we go. James, go here. So Thomas has stepping. Whee! No, I missed it.
James grudgingly helped Thomas to each portal. He knew that eventually they'd find the others. Then he'd go back to being the weird one again. He decided to enjoy the time they had left.
Which is sad. Okay, I need Thomas down here. Wait, where am I? Where? You're fine this way. Oh, right here. Okay. There we are. Stepping stone again. Now, Thomas, come down here. Wait. Yes, okay. There we are. There's our point. Turn the friggin' rectangles gay! I'm just kidding. Whoop. Okay, we're gonna move along here. I need to jump over you.
Why did Thomas even
Fast.
spend time with James? Was he
There we
not
go.
repulsed by his weird color? Did he not care about his inversions?
Yeah, I took that a little faster than I probably should have, but okay. Fuck. Fuck. I can take this if I take it slow and I can do fine if I take this slow and reasonable. But I also have to piss and want to finish the chapter before I have to take a break. Nope. Okay. Oh yay, dancing gay square. Gay square dancing? Dancing gay square? Square gay dancing? I ship it. Tiny jump.
James was having fun. For the time being.
Whoops, wrong way. And we should be fine now. There we go. We'll have to do that one more time, but with a harder component, but yeah. Well, okay, yeah. So that's about halfway through. I'm going to go ahead and pause there because we are a little over an hour, and so I need to take one more break. Also, I have been needing to piss for like the last 15, 20 minutes, so yeah. I might have mentioned 4, but that is not a kink that I have. But yeah, anyways, we'll be back in just a little bit. But right now, I'm going to take a quick break.